So let us begin our session by paying respect and homage to the Buddha. Let us recite Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I pay my respect and homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Buddha. Okay, so it seems today people are still watching FIFA football World Cup. Oh, there's a lot of traffic, eh? Yeah, around this time it's very traffic, no? Anyways, so today we have a guest monk to give the Dhamma talk. He's not a guest monk, he's one of the resident monks of our temple. I would say guest speaker. This is Bhante Kusala. He is one of the fine Buddhist monks doing a great service in the West. He received his monastic education training in Sri Lanka, and also he did his master's degree in Buddhist studies at Harvard. So now he's here among us, and in my absence, time to time, he conducted this weekly session for me. So today I invited him to give the Dhamma talk for a reason. Recently, he joined one American monk, a British nun and Italian nun. So 2 Buddhist monks, 2 Buddhist nuns, for a Tudong practice in Italy. And they call it empty bowl and mindful, something like that. So Tudong is in Thai, but the original practice in Pali is called Dutanga. As Du has the meaning to shake off. So Anga, so there are 13 austerities, the austere practices that help a monastic to shake off the defilements like greed, anger, ignorance, and other defilements. And this practice is primarily done in Thailand these days. They are highly respected. So these 4 monastics wanted to try doing it in Italy, which is not a Buddhist country, and so I have been watching their movements, and time to time Bhante Kusala sent me his journal, and after reading his journal, not complete journal, but some of it, and that I thought, this is very interesting. Also they shared some pictures camping in different places. So I thought, it would be nice to have him talk about his experience of Tudong in Italy. So let us welcome Bhante Kusala to give the Dhamma talk today. Sadhu,
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bhante Saranapala, for your kind invitation to speak about what we experienced in Europe, in Italy. So I think the introduction he gave about Tudong is quite sufficient. It's about doing more rigorous practice to shake off your defilements. I think the first thing is to accept that we have these defilements to work on, work together and work with. And to me, compared to my previous experience as a monastic, especially before doing this practice, I was in Sri Lanka for nearly 1 month and a half. I was well fed with my family. My mom was feeding me all the time, and I was with all the comforts there. And then I came here for 1 week and then went to Italy. And from there on, I met, I think for the first time, yes, we have met virtually before, but Bhante Sudasu and Ayya Soma and Ayya Brahmavara for the first time. So we spent, I think, nearly 1 month together. And I have so much respect toward them, and I think we all have that toward each other. As we were supporting each other with kind gestures, kind hearts, kind words, kind actions. So it has only increased at the end of the practice. We did this only for 12 days in that 1 month of staying in Italy. And I was in it. I've studied in Italy 1 year, for 1 year in 2012. So I did a master's, half of a master's program. I was an exchange student studying cognitive psychology. Don't ask any questions about that from me, because I forgot all about that. And but it was my personal quest to find how emotions work and how fear work, and I wanted to learn about that. So that's why I wanted to study in Italy. But then 9 years later, I was so excited to go back and recall all the memories of the words I learned before, Italian words, and do this practice. So we started, I think we started on 7th of November. I may not remember the exact dates. I have to check the journal. So we did the practice in Sicily, South Italy. That's the part I've never been to before. And so this, for a practice like this, we go totally with whatever we can pack and carry with us. So each of us were carrying our camping tent, which is a must to have, and 1 bottle of water. If you can carry 2, you can definitely do that. An extra robe. And a sweater, of course, because it gets down to 11 degrees at night, maybe less, maybe lower. And of course, no credit cards, no money. So we can't buy things, we can buy food whenever we want. We have the alms ball, the ball that we carry. So we totally relied on our practice and our virtues and our samadhi, our stillness, whatever Dhamma Vinaya that we practice. And we relied on whoever we meet to look after us. We got tons of support before we started the practice. I remember we spent a weekend in this ashram in Puglia called Bole Babaji Ashram, and there, as we were saying goodbye to them, this one Italian person, he found a little pot like that had a handle that we could use to make tea during the trip. Some people had other ideas like bigger bowls, bigger pots, but they were too heavy to carry, so we didn't want to do that. So we knew that we will be walking about 20 kilometers a day and be eating only one meal a day. And this was like and I think this before we started the practice, we were having discussions about it, like how monks will start the practice with so many things, and then on their first or second day they leave some stuff behind because it's too heavy for them to carry. And I think I was one of them. I had to leave behind an extra thermal pants I had, and also an extra rope I had, and I gave it away to Ayasoma, and she happily received it, but also reluctantly, because she had to carry it from that point onward, although she was going to use it at night. So as we started our first day of Tudong, we took the train from Messina to some place in Sicily. We passed a volcano. We were able to see it from the train, and then we got off the train, and then we started walking up the hill. And people, of course, they were curious, they were asking, they were saying namaste. Some people say namaske. They don't know how to say it, so I was correcting them, although it's not our cultural thing. And they were asking, where are you from? And we were from 4 places, so it was hard to really tell where we were actually from. So I think the easiest for us to tell was that we were from India, if we were in a rush. But if we had the time, we would say we were from 4 places. So and that worked. Ayya Brahmavara from England, Bhante Saranapala, an American monk, and Ayasoma, who was the only one speaking Italian. She was from Italy, and I was from Sri Lanka. So, and as we were going up the hill, we soon came to the farmlands. And people stopped us and said, there's nothing happening there. They thought we were lost, and we were in need of directions. And we said, I think all the time, Ayasoma very kindly was translating and responding to all these people. And she said, that's what we want. We want to get disappeared into the wilderness. And I think the reason we chose that part of Italy from where we were before in Puglia was because people have cleared the forest so much that we only had that path, the forested path, which was usually great for camping and sort of making the practice worthwhile. So we were, of course, we had just pizza for the lunch, and we started walking up the hill around, after getting off the train around 1:30 p.m. So we knew that we had to find a camping site before the sun disappears. So, but on the first day, I think we were too late to set up camping. So we continued walking, and people were warning us, saying, don't go in that direction, there will be fierce dogs. So that was true. These dogs were really fierce. They came charging at us. So Ayya Brahmavara had a walking stick. That was our only protection. And the other protection we had was our backup plan. our metta, our loving kindness, loving friendliness toward these dogs. We can't run, but we knew that we were we were discussing about our protection. So we would stand in staring at any animal that came toward us and would talk to them in a friendly way until they no longer had any interest. They no longer showed any interest in us. So sometimes we stopped at houses to get water because we were running out of water very easily. And there was one time we had to use Ayya Brahmara's filter for filtering water from she had a water filter that's also in the shape of a bottle to filter dirty water, so she could have it, but she ended up having some stomach problem afterwards, unfortunately. But she has been a former doctor, so she had all the medications with her, so this was comforting us. And we continued walking, and our goal was to reach to this Sancturia church on that first night. We didn't know if we were allowed to camp there, but then we realized, what Google Maps showed. We all had Google Maps access, but one of us had to guide, and others kept the phones turned off so that we have enough juice, because we didn't have any place to charge these phones, because we knew that we will be camping in the forest. And so usually when Google Maps says it is 20 minutes to so and so place, usually we double it. We know it's 40 minutes. And as we were all carrying heavy weight in our camper and a sleeping bag and all these ropes and personal items in our backpack, we were exhausted pretty easily. And I remember Ayasoma saying, in Buddhism we say the practice we do is pure in the beginning, pure in the middle, pure in the end. And Ayasoma saying, this is horrible in the beginning, horrible in the middle, and horrible in the end. And it only gets worse. So, as we set up camp, so we went to this town somehow. It was beautiful view actually. We had the sea view all the time from the mountains. We were able to see the sea. But we were very far from the sea as we have walked up the mountain, up hills all the time. So when we reached the town, there was this one person who told us that there was this playground area, a tennis court, and behind that you will be able to do camping. There was this, I think it was a sewage line, all the sewage water coming down that area, and then we were able to find a patch of a forest, kind of a pasture where we were able to set up camping, but it was already too dark by the time we did that. It was 5 p.m. and very dark, and was getting cold, and we had all these dirty, sweaty clothes, robes, but we had no option, so we had to clear the bush a little bit and find a place to set up camping. There was the concrete pad, but we couldn't use that because of course you can't set up camping in a concrete surface. But Bhante Suddasa was very kind to set up my camp before he did his and Ayasoma's. Ayya Brahmavara was able to set her own camp, so we somehow managed to set it up, and then the campground for me was uneven, so it was really hard to sleep. It was just like my body dragging myself down. It was the slopey. And we didn't know that it was also where if it rained, that would be the place where water would be running. And but fortunately it didn't rain. And into the night, we were hearing these noises, and we didn't know what they were. We haven't seen any animal around because we didn't hang around in that area enough to see what was happening. It was really, I was struggling to sleep. I was wide awake until 5 in the morning, and the noises were fine. They didn't scare me because I was inside the camp, and nothing was really dangerous apparently, so I was okay. And I hear Bhante Sudaso and Ayasoma speaking. So all we did was a bit of meditation, but we were already exhausted. But as soon as we start doing meditation, I realized that the tiredness vanishes, and I am able to sit still and sort of like calm down and lie in the mattress. There was this air mattress we carried. You can pump air with your hands and make it a mattress. So you have a little layer, between the earth and your body, so that you don't get too cold. So that helped me to lie down, but without sleep. So I was doing metta as much as I could, radiating metta to all directions, all beings, and that didn't help. Maybe because I was in a new place and not on even ground, and also too tired after walking up the hill with all the heavy stuff. So I remember clearly asking Ayasoma and Bhante Sutta, what is our plan tomorrow? And I think Ayasoma was saying, if we wake up, more dukkha. So that was true actually. When we woke up, the condensation of the tents had soaked the tents, and I was able to feel it. After only 2 hours of sleep, it was bright sun. And it was we had to dry out our tents, and there was all the water, and we had to wait for nearly 2 hours to dry the camp, so that we would pack them neat in our backpacks and carry them. So we didn't know what to expect. We knew that we could only do one pindapata. So if we hanged out in the town area and if people invited us to have coffee, then we could accept it. But if we were to do pindapata, arms round, we could only do one of those. So we went on like that, and most of the days we found we can't stand in front of restaurants because they open around 1 o'clock. That's past the meal time for monks. So we go to a store, like a supermarket place, and we stand in front of it. Most of the times we say buongiorno, because although in Asia we stay quiet doing arms round, but here we have to make eye contact and talk to people, otherwise they don't know what we are doing. They think we are Hare Krishna, expecting money, so they try to throw money into the balls. And we say, no, we don't accept money. Then they ask, what do you want? And they say, only something that we can eat. Then they try to buy pasta, but we can't cook pasta, so it's dry. So we then say, if it is something that is readily available to eat, ready-made food, then they usually go for bread. And then we realized, it's to accept whatever is given. Some days we were lucky to get fruits, some grapes. Some days we got some non-veg food. So So usually we prefer vegetarian food, but we don't have any choice, and so we ate whatever is given to sustain the energy of the body. And on this one day we got only bread and a bottle of oil. There was olive oil, so we only had olive oil and bread. So I was having loose motion because I was not used to eating olive oil raw. And then on that night, fortunately, we were directed by a police officer to the mayor's office. So we went there, and the mayor was really excited to see us, and he was inspired, and he took photos and he posted it in his Facebook profile. So the whole town was interested in us because it was a small town, and the mayor even offered. He asked, what's your plan for lunch tomorrow, or breakfast tomorrow? So we said, we don't have any plan, we'll do the alms round. And where do you sleep? We said, we don't have a place to sleep. He then showed us a place, a public place where we could set up camping. It was like a public gathering place with a roof, and people could do barbecue there, and also a little open space for you to camp. So that was nice. And then he booked. He asked us to go to this restaurant and order whatever we wanted for lunch, and he said he'll pay the bill, which he did very kindly, and it also happened to be my birthday. So it was very nice. In the morning, as we were walking to that restaurant, people who have seen Mayor's post in Facebook invited us to have breakfast in restaurant in places, and also offered us coffee, cappuccino, ice cream, local ice cream. So it was very nice, complete strangers wanting to look after us. So as we continued our Tudong, I'm aware of the time now. We noticed that sometimes people.
10 more minutes.
Okay.
10, 15.
Okay. People were also used to seeing Franciscan monks and nuns, and looking after monks and nuns before. So they gave us the same treatments. Like these Franciscan monks have a rigorous practice. They don't use money. They practice the vow of poverty. So these people really were inspired and wanted to look after us, offer a meal, and pay for it. So there was that kind of enthusiasm, and they did so to. I think they did so to in memory of someone. It's like in Buddhist tradition, we saw this coherence between two traditions. That night after we had a big lunch at that restaurant offered by the mayor, and we did the 6 hours of walking that day, passing by puddles, and we had all the monks except me, they removed their shoes to walk through the puddles, and I felt these thorny bushes. I was used to really walking through by the sides of these puddles in Sri Lanka, because we have plenty of those. Like they say in England they drive on left, and in Sri Lanka you drive on what is left. So I was used to walking by these roads. So they were saying, "Oh, smart Bhante Kusala." It was just nothing for me, because just being careful not to fall into the puddle. So we did the walk for about 6 hours, and that night we reached the main road where by that there was a forest, and we set up camping. It was also getting dark very soon, and So as we did set up camping under the trees so that we don't get too much condensation, I think I was just falling asleep, and then this dog found us. He was very upset. He continuously barked into the midnight, staring at staring at my camp. It was more dog karma. And I had to change my thoughts and attitudes toward the dog, saying, this dog is protecting me. So no anger in me at all. I was having so much equanimity. And I remember Bhante Suddas was saying, on the third day of Tudong, you will have equanimity. I think I was having that equanimity on the second, actually on the third day. This was actually the second day's night. So it was amazing that this dog kept me awake. I think kept us all awake. But I made sure not to walk out of the tent so that the dog will butcher us, thinking that we were their enemy. And I noticed how the dog slowly vanished from the area and continued barking somewhere else. I think these dogs are specially trained to protect sheep in the area, so they were farm dogs. And some of the dogs we met were very friendly. They were making sure that their sheep were safe, or sometimes they were protecting goats, and that the dog was making sure the goats were safe, or the cows. But as long as we were in a safe distance, they didn't bother us. But that night, I think this was this dog's regular route. So he spotted us and he started, doing his job. That was normal, so we had to accept it. In the morning, an Italian person found the tent, and he approached us and started speaking in Italian. I didn't know how to respond, but I did know to say that we were monarchi Buddhisti, Buddhist monks, spending una notte, one night here, and we were going to the town. I knew the name of the town. I think that was Sant'Agata. So I explained that to him, and then Bhante Sudaso was coming from far to help me. By that time, the man had already left. So Bhante Sudaso asked, are you okay? And was he rude to you? I said no, he was friendly. He was just curious, wanted to know what was happening. He didn't see the other monks up in the mountain, up in the hill. I was like setting up my camping under the trees as we entered the forest. So he spotted me because of that. So that day we walked super fast to the town, and we stood by this little grocery store, and these policemen came and they were interested in us. I thought they were sent by the store, thinking that we were a threat to the store. But oftentimes that's not the case. The store owners usually like to know what we were doing, and as people started buying things from the store to offer to us, then they started offering more support to us. So it worked. It was like a deal. It worked both ways, that people were buying things from them, and we were also receiving something from the store. So and then sometimes people really wanted to offer lighters for us, thinking that we needed to light a cigar at night. We had to refuse that. And at one point, this man was so disappointed after refusal of his lighter, and I said, okay, let me have it so that I can make a fire. So I had to carry the lighter until I reached to, at one point, to the Sri Lankan temple, and I gave it to the monks there. So sometimes people offer us raw fruit, raw vegetables, and we accept it although we don't eat it. So then after receiving it and making these people happy, if there's leftover, we never carry any food. We offer it to some place, some church, so that homeless people are fed with this food. So at the end of receiving food from each person, usually a little piece of cheese, and we offer a blessing. And some people don't have the patience to wait for that blessing. They say it's too long, and then they go away, and we say molto benedizione, lots of blessings to you. And before even we say that, they disappear. And sometimes they laugh at us, Then they start talking about us, and as they have an image about us as beggars, but they don't know what we are begging. And if they talk to us, then we explain. Then they try to somehow give us some tomatoes and some bread and some little slice of pizza or something, or some cheese. So that was always the case, that we never. It was only one day that monks returned without any food. On that day, my leg was injured, so I had to stay in one place. But fortunately, we had a friend who had brought food for us, and also as I was sitting by that church waiting for the other monks to do the alms round and come back, there was this person who lives in Germany. He was traveling in Sicily with his wife and son, and he approached me and offered some cashew nuts and some bread that he was eating. So we had enough food anyways all the time. We never went hungry. And we had also times when we were spotted by an interfaith person. He was a priest, he was a father. He has done a lot of interfaith work in Rome, so he knew about us monks. And he immediately made some calls, and he asked the nuns to come and arrange shelter for us. And these nuns came and took us to their nunnery. It was beautiful, luxurious rooms for us for that one night. So these random places to sleep and shower and shave and look clean again, and also do laundry. And as we were always looked after by people like that, we had so much gratitude, and we were so moved by this kind of generosity, kindness. So I think we each were saying things like, I have, when Bhante Suddhasa said, I have metta about himself, and Ayasoma has mudita, and I had karuna, and Aya Brahmavara had upekka. So each of us worked fine as a team. We were doing our own practices in different ways, and oftentimes when we did conversations, they were on Dhamma, and we did chantings and meditations when we were when we finished setting up camps and when we woke up. So we did group chanting almost every day, and we did a group sitting, and we were met with many different people, and we introduced Dhamma to them. And sometimes there were these evangelical people and also Jehovah's Witnesses in Italy. They also wanted to offer food to us at the end of talking to us, and that was very nice. So we never had any attacks from animals or attacks from people. And on that first night, as we were trying to reach the sanctuary church, we were told that it's nice that we didn't camp there because it's a protected area and that they could even shoot us. The security could even shoot us if we were spotted there. So these things we learned as we went and as we went by. And at the end of the practice, we ended, I think I went to the Sri Lankan temple 2 nights before the end of Tudong practice. So I only did 10 days of it because I had to heal my leg. And the other monks and nuns went to the forest for 1 night, and the following day, at that night it rained so heavily. So the following day, with so much muddied and dirtied clothes, wet clothes, they were welcomed by the nuns in that town. And the following day, we met again in Sicily Buddhist temple. And then we took the night train to Napoli. So that was the end of our Tudong practice, and we gave a talk about Tudong practice in Napoli Buddhist temple, discussing about our experiences and how we felt and how we held each other. For me, my mind state before starting Tudong was needing change of environment, new people, and I received that, and I was grateful to this experience. And also spending time with fellow monastics who have practices from Thai forest tradition helped me see Dhamma even more, and also recite Salleka Sutta. We did it at least once, and we discussed about it, in which we find others can blame us and we have metta toward them. Others can gossip about us and we have metta toward them. So this way we were continuously remembering the sutta quotes. And on one night, I think Ayya Soma received the news that her cousin had passed away. So we sat as a group and we chanted Anicca Sankhara. Impermanent are all the conditioned things, and we did meditation to generate merits toward that person. So our practice was really blissful, and we were also doing silent practices. We practiced silence as we walked, and when we broke silence, we often had poems that we formed in our minds that we shared. So I was inspired to take notes, and I composed all the experiences into a journal. While walking, this was difficult. So I was, most of the times I was quiet because I was listening and taking notes. And I think my friend Kelly is now editing it with me. And when the journal is out, I will let Bhante Saranapala know, so you will be able to really read and see what the Tudong was like. So thank you for listening. Any questions?
Now, I'm just wondering, what's the significance of this practice? I think that you would be interested in knowing that. As you told us the story.
The significance of the practice is to see through your own mind and defilements and cut them off as much as possible. I think it's evident from how we faced each other and how we were able to face different people and still had metta toward them. Of course, we had moments where we were frustrated. I was frustrated, honestly, and then we express our frustration toward each other. But then we see how mind fools us. How mind gives a false story about things, and it changes to blissfulness, kindness, happiness in a short time. And that's the power of doing this practice. So it's all about newness and giving a chance for you to. It's a test against your simplicity and poverty and the comforts of life and accepting whatever coming your way. Now I can sleep anywhere basically. I can eat anything. I would prefer vegetarian food, but I can eat anything for survival. And I can stay with any person and have equanimity toward people. So, and I'm grateful to that. I want to do that again. I want to do this practice again.
We can do such practice here in Canada.
I think I was telling Bhante was suggesting let's do this from here to Ottawa.
We can walk.
Yes, we can walk.
By 401 from Toronto to Ottawa.
I think we should invite Bhante Sudasu, Ayya Soma and Ayya Brahmavara and do this practice.
Yeah, maybe you can join us.
Yeah, we have had people walking with us and doing the same practice. Yes, summer is ideal for that. And we were giving Dhamma talks in most places at night because we found someone interested in us and they bring their friends and we ended up talking Dhamma. So they were asking similar questions like, how hard it is for you to stay on one meal a day and without taking a shower and stuff like that. And we were even given a campground and hot shower by an owner of a campground who was a friend of Ayya Soma. So many nice experiences like that from random people. So you could survive in a rich country like it in Italy like that without having any money. It's all the power of Dhamma, power of Buddha, power of Sangha, power of Dhamma Vinaya, power of your good karma.
But in Buddhist countries, I think the Tudong monks are highly respected. I think they are familiar with this practice, and people normally line up on the road to serve them something, to collect merits. So this practice is very famous in Thailand, and even Thai monks time to time do the same practice in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka being a Buddhist country, people know. Even I have seen like even Muslim people, Hindu people, Christian people, they were lining up to serve something to this group of, I think, around 100 monks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was nice. But I know when Bhante Kusala returned, I think he was really missing the spicy food for a month, and he was really enjoying it here.
Right. He noticed I was able to eat more rice. Because I have a point actually. In Sri Lanka, eating bread is poor people food. And we were receiving tons of bread, and I was complaining about that all the time. This is poor people food. I can't stay like this all the time. And then I saw him saying, this is middle class people food and also rich people's food now. We had very, very nice conversations, and I think I jotted down most of them and I have them in the journal. And I first have to complete it, put all the pieces together and send to the monastics who were with me and get their permission to send these to a publisher so that we can make it public.
That would be nice. By the way, he's also a great poet. He composes poems in Sinhalese. He's also a songwriter. Some of his songs were sung by some famous Sri Lankan artists. So it's a good experience, I think. going on this journey, and it was also basically a walking meditation, right?
That's true. That's a good point. Yes, we were also doing tons of walking meditation. As you know, there's no any specific speed to walking meditation, and this was walking meditation for us. We were teaching walking meditation in every place we went to, every place we taught. We did many walking weekend meditation retreats, and as a group we did walking meditations, so that we were able to stretch. Even after walking 6 hours a day, maybe 4, we are supposed to stretch a little bit and do so that our bodies detoxifies us. There's something like that, so that stretching helps. And monks who have done Tudong from west to east in the US have this practice of stretching, so that their bodies are able to sleep and relax and rest. So I think we all need to do something like this and challenge our bodies and see what it is like to survive. And staying hungry is also healthy to kill cancer cells. But because of all the cheese, I didn't lose much weight actually. Which is anyways.
Well, I expected him to be like this.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
I lose 1 kg. That's a good thing. I lost 1 kg.
Well, they were well fed. All this cheese, pasta, bread.
Not so much pasta, bread and whatever that went with. That was good.
Well, that's a great experience. Thank you, Bhante Kusala, for sharing your Tudong experiences with us, our group. I hope you enjoyed. If you have questions, maybe you can ask later.
Thank you, Bhante. I'm humbled by the opportunity to speak and humbled for the experience as well.
All right, so let us do a short meditation. I think it's almost 8 o'clock. But I gave him the time to tell the story because it's also a form of meditation practice. No? All right. Okay, so I would like all of you to assume a very nice and comfortable meditation posture. Whatever way you feel very comfortable, feel free to assume that posture. And if you would like to meditate like the Buddha in the background, feel free to assume that meditation posture. Having the back straight, neither too rigid nor too loose. And resting your hands on your lap, the right hand on the left one, and then slowly and gently close your eyes. Now remind yourself it is time to come home, the present moment. So unplug your mind from the past, from the future, from everything you have been doing all day today. Now is the time to put your mind on silent mode. Allow yourself to go inside your own home, the present moment, just like the turtle that goes into its own hard shell, where it feels very safe, out of danger, feels very comfortable. In the same way, allow yourself to go inside your own shell and feel safe, be comfortable. Now take a deep breath and let your whole body relax. One more time, take a deep breath, this time through the nostril. Hold the breath for a few seconds, then slowly let it out through the nostril. Let the whole body go into relaxation. Now kindly remind yourself, I'm practicing meditation not only to relax my body, to calm my mind, but also to free my mind from all the attachments, all the defilements, to purify the mind and to attain the state of bliss. With this noble intention in mind, now see whether you can be grateful for today's Dhamma talk on Tudong practice by Bhante Kusala. See whether you can really appreciate this Tudong practice. Fill your heart and mind with the feelings of gratitude. Let the feelings of gratitude go into every part of your body. With a heart full of gratitude, I'll make a determination. No matter what happens, I'm going to practice like the Buddha. With this determination in mind, now you may listen to the sound of the meditation bell and let yourself remain grounded in this moment. Now slowly and gently bring your mind to the ingoing and outgoing breath, keeping your mind in between the nose tip and upper lip. Simply let the mind watch and feel the breath entering and leaving through the nostril. Let the mind watch and feel the ingoing and outgoing breath with 100% attention, with the full presence of the mind. Mindful of breathing, mindful of breathe out, and relax. There's no rush, take your time, go slowly.
breathe in, breathe out slowly with the full presence of the mind. And relax. As you keep breathing in and out slowly, at the same time you also can breathe in and out silently. Without listening to your inner boombox, quietly breathe in, breathe out, and relax. As you continue breathing in and out silently, allow yourself to become very soft, gentle, and kind. So kindfully breathe in, kindfully breathe out. Continue breathing in and out slowly, silently, mindfully, and kindfully. Continue relaxing.
you can come out from meditation and feel free to stretch your legs and hands and remain relaxed. Okay, so we are going to do brief blessing chanting. So to receive blessings, please bring your palms to your heart. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sati bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sati bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sati bhavantu te. By the power of the meditation, by the power of the Noble Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, may you all be well, happy and peaceful. May you all be free from all sufferings and pains. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. Finally, may you all experience the happiness, the bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Alright, so that's it for today. I will see you all next Wednesday. Until then, be well. Good night. Sukhi Hotu.